Top stories. St. Kitts and Nevis will host the entire 2021 Caribbean Premier League tournament. The balance between the state of the economy and public health safety in the midst of the pandemic explored, and CARICOM engages the U.S. for COVID-19 vaccines. Hi, I'm Abby Diskin. Welcome to the Skn Newsline newscast. After hosting the entire tournament in Trinidad and Tobago last year, the 2021 season of the Caribbean Premier League will be held in St. Kitts and Nevis. More from Skn Newsline's Glenn Bart.
St. Kitts and Nevis will host the 2021 games of the Hero Caribbean Premier League, CPL, bringing an economic boost as the country pursues economic recovery during the COVID-19 pandemic, said Minister of Sport John L. Powell. As of 15th May 2021, spectators will be allowed in sporting venues up to 50% of their capacity, the minister informed during the online CPL media event, indicating that patrons will have to be fully vaccinated with an approved COVID-19 vaccine. This condition, Minister Powell said, will apply to all sport events, not just to the upcoming CPL tournament.
During this difficult period of pandemic, St. Kitts and Nevis understands the need to position itself for recovery and recognizes the importance of its relationship with the CPL and the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots. Consequently, yesterday, the federal cabinet would have approved the renewing of the hosting agreement between St. Kitts and Nevis and the CPL, thus ensuring that for another 5 years, St. Kitts and Nevis will have the benefit of the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots, all the rights that come with them, and the right to host home matches in relation to the CPL. We also have taken into consideration our own track record in relation to the COVID-19 pandemic and the fact that we've been able to weather that storm pretty well. To date, we've had 44 cases of positive cases of COVID-19 with no deaths and no serious illnesses. And so we are confident in our ability to contribute to sport and in this regard, the CPL. And so it is my pleasing duty to announce that yesterday, the federal cabinet of St. Kitts and Nevis approved the hosting of the entire 2021 CPL tournament here in St. Kitts and Nevis to be held at Warner Park in Bastia, St. Kitts.
Pete Russell, Chief Operations Officer of Hero CPL, said the games will begin on the 28th of August and will extend into the middle of September.
One of the key things for us is always to ensure that the local economy gets a boost because we've proven over the years that when CPL is in the region, we're able to do that, both in terms of actually spending money within the region, but also in terms of highlighting the region around the world. Last year, we were broadcast to over 520 million viewers globally, which is a phenomenal achievement. This year in particular, we'll have 220 people or thereabouts in terms of the CPL cohort. That equates to something like 5,500 room nights, which is a significant investment. And hopefully that will be welcomed by not only the local hoteliers within St. Kitts, but also by vendors across the island, because obviously we'll be spending the good part of 4 weeks in St. Kitts. So that's very important to us. It's also very important that we have a TV audience that appreciates what St. Kitts has to offer, because we want to be the window to the world in terms of that period. So again, we'll be promoting the region and St. Kitts in particular very hard as they get themselves ready for what we hope will be a significant amount of tourism towards the back end of the year.
While much-needed economic benefits will be derived from hosting the 33 CPL games in the Federation, local authorities indicate that care will be taken with health protocols to prevent any serious spread of the COVID-19 virus. Glenn Bart reporting for Skn Newsline.
In this special Andre Huey report, we explore the difficult balancing act for the government, how to achieve economic recovery without sacrificing the health of the nation.
The balancing act of the economy and healthcare in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic has become the centerpiece of debate in the public sphere as the government's vaccination rollout continues. There is the school of thought that the business community in St. Kitts and Nevis seems enamored with pushing vaccination to get the economy reopening as quickly as possible to protect employment and the viability of businesses. Some who hold this belief are of the view that the business community is less concerned about the health of their employees or concerns they may have regarding becoming vaccinated. The business community would argue that they have done the best they can to keep the economy afloat, and vaccination is the only way out of the challenges facing the economy caused by the pandemic. Tourism Minister Lindsay Grant painted a grim picture of the economy in a recent tourism stakeholders meeting at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort.
Some people were on the verge of losing their businesses. Some businesses are on the verge of folding. Not because they're not doing what is right, but because others may be affecting their businesses. They're on the verge of closing, folding. Can we allow that? We can't allow that. We have to be our brother's keeper in this cause. And so that is why we're here again, begging, pleading, coercing, some say mandating. No, we're not mandating yet.
Balancing the reopening of the economy and healthcare concerns is a difficult act, says former Chief Medical Officer Dr. Patrick Martin.
We have a balanced strike, health of people, health of the economy. If you don't attend to the health of the people, more people will die. If you don't attend to the health of the economy, a lot of people will become disabled and also die. So that is the balance that needs to be struck right now for countries like St. Kitts and Nevis. The health of the economy is the horse that is ahead. Judging from the urgency and the tone of the communication coming out from the coalition of government and business interests. Now, I only wish that we had this avowed all of society approach. I only wish we had started this earlier, the communication before rollout. We would have been in a better place, but that's water on the bridge. We have to pay for where we are right now. But I don't think the public should be victimized by communication for mistakes made in communication.
And while acknowledging the importance of reopening the economy as quickly as possible, former Government Minister Dwyer Astafan believes this should not be at the expense of people's dignity and trust. He has been one of the critics of the vaccination messaging. He said the tone of the message from the business community has been less than stellar.
The messaging has been less than stellar, in my opinion, reinforcing the lines of division as to who will take and who won't take. I don't think they're really persuading people. These are the realities. But if you lay out the seriousness of the illness, the seriousness in terms of life and health and social well-being and economic well-being, both at individual and national levels, and you outline that there's some risk involved, if you take it, perhaps even more risk, a lot more risk if you don't.
But not everyone agrees with Mr. Astafan. Hear what this taxi driver suggested to the authorities to encourage more people to vaccinate.
I would like you all to use a different strategy. I believe if you all implement an incentive, maybe $500 to $1,000 for people to take the vaccine, I'm pretty sure within 3 weeks you will reach the target. Okay. Think about the incentive. People are hurting too. And the talk I've been hearing, people will like some sort of money.
Thank you.
Some stakeholders and the international community have suggested that the only way for the world's economy to fully reopen to begin growing out of this pandemic is through vaccination. Despite St. Kitts and Nevis managing the pandemic well with 0 deaths or hospitalization, it has come at a great cost, the health of the economy. Time will tell how the Federation handles the next phase. I'm Andre Huey for Skn Newsline.
Still to come, Minister Eugene Hamilton responds to a decision of the DPP to throw out a bribery case against him.
Elliott's Funeral Parlor is the first licensed embalmer in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. We have a friendly and professional staff. At Elliott's Funeral Parlor, we offer a wide range of packages from $6,500. Homegoing service at chapel, locally made caskets, tailoring of outfit for deceased of your choice, wake, overnight with slideshow, funeral, death announcement, obituary, booklets, family pin-ons, memorial books, preparation of funeral arrangements, wreath, fresh and artificial. For further information, call 469-3298, 664-2007, or 660-0186. Elliott's Funeral Parlor in Gingerland, Nevis. Dedicated to those we serve.
I eat some veggies for dinner. Let me just check the amount of sodium in this can. Oh no, this is too much. Let me try our next option. They did say it's healthy to consume less salt. This is much better. I am salt smart.
Football is back, and the St. Kitts and Nevis Football Association will be bringing you live football on its website, www.sknfa.com, with Premier League Live. Without fans in the stadium due to COVID-19 protocols, you can now watch every single Premier League match this season on www.sknfa.com and click on Live TV. Games are shown live on every match day with halftime and post-game shows. It's Premier League Live. Commentary, analysis, action. Never miss a game.
Bless up, Dejo here, and I'm doing my part in the fight against COVID-19 by following all safety protocols and, most importantly, rolling up my sleeve for the vaccine. So I'm encouraging you to do the same, because that's our best shot of protecting ourselves, our family, and our friends. So don't wait, vaccinate. Let's roll up to roll out.
Auto Plus Car Wash, located on the College Street Gut, Bastyr, St. Kitts. Bring your car to Auto Plus Car Wash to remove water stains, wiper marks. Get your doors, roof panel cleaned, seat floor mats, buffing, headlights, and engine wash. You get quality service at the best price at Auto Plus Car Wash. They really care for your car. Call 765-5140 or visit them on the College Street Gut, Bastyr, St. Kitts. Auto Plus Car Wash, where the service is number one.
Member of Parliament and Government Minister Eugene Hamilton has responded to the decision by the Director of Public Prosecution to throw out a criminal case against him alleging bribery during the 2020 general election. More from Glenn Bart.
In comments made to Skn Newsline following the discontinuance of two criminal cases against Mr. Eugene Hamilton, representative of constituency number 8, the recent defendant described the cases as frivolous. The two charges against Hamilton, one relating to bribery and the other to the charge of treating, were discontinued by the Director of Public Prosecution, Valston Graham, with the decision handed down in court on the 26th April 2021. According to Mr. Hamilton, the cases were a waste of time and were not supported by evidence. He believes the DPP made the right decision.
It was important that he make that decision because actually I think the cases were a waste of time. They already spent 8 Mondays, which is my usual cabinet day, to attend to these matters in the court, and prolonging it would have just been more time wasting because, like I said, the evidence provided to support the charges are incongruent with the charges. And so I totally agree. And as I said, if it had to go beyond this, I think that they would certainly have been embarrassed by the evidence that was presented in this case.
Hamilton said the charges were an indirect approach to gain the seat of number 8 following the withdrawal of electoral petitions of the Labour Party in 2020.
If you recall, back in July last year, the Labour Party brought several petitions by the candidates who ran for the Labour Party. And those petitions, after some decisions in the court, had to be withdrawn. They were withdrawn, and in the petition with Dr. Drew, for example, against me, he had made some note. He had taken some note of the fact that these very charges, he thinks,
were going to be part of his case.
Attempts to obtain comments from Dr. Terence Drew were unsuccessful up to news
did not
time.
proceed to trial.
Glenn Barrett reporting for
This, in my
Skn
view,
Newsline.
May not be strictly on point, but it would seem to me as if it could be considered as if he was basically in double jeopardy, because the truth is those matters were part of the case that were withdrawn.
Attempts to obtain comments from Dr. Terence Drew were unsuccessful up to news time. Glenn Barrett reporting for Skn Newsline.
Youth groups in St. Kitts and Nevis have an opportunity through a capacity building program of the St. Kitts and Nevis Youth Ambassador Corps with the support of the Departments of Youth in St. Kitts and Nevis. Andre Huey reports.
Youth groups in St. Kitts and Nevis have a unique opportunity to build capacity and learn key skills through a capacity building project offered through the Department of Youth Empowerment. The department has extended an invitation to youth-led and youth-serving organizations to register for the Youth Capacity Building Project, a small grants project on youth in sustainable development. This is being offered through the St. Kitts and Nevis Youth Ambassador Corps with the support of the Department of Youth in St. Kitts and Nevis. Janicia Puran works in the Department of Youth. She was a guest on Issues radio program on Freedom 106.5 FM Monday.
We are partnering with the St. Kitts Nevis Youth Ambassador Corps in support with the Department of Youth St. Kitts and Nevis to implement a youth capacity building small grants project on youth in sustainable development, funded in part by the GEF Small Grants Program, UNDP. Registration of participants: you must be a youth-led or youth-serving organization working with youth and communities across the Federation, be currently registered with the relevant Department of Youth in St. Kitts or Nevis. You must nominate 5 members of your organization between the ages of 15 and 35 for the full training course, and you must complete the online registration form. Deadline ends on the 30th of April 2021.
Interested persons are asked to visit the Department of Youth St. Kitts Facebook page to access the online application form to apply for this opportunity. Andre Huey, Skn Newsline.
When we come back, regional news.
The Skn Newsline website now offers you more news. Log on to www.sknnewsline.com for local, regional, and international news. You can also watch the latest newscast and keep abreast with news in sports, all from sknnewsline.com. That's www.sknnewsline.com. News at your fingertips.
You know, it's me, Mr. HE, and I'm here with one message: roll up to roll out. We all know how difficult things have been during this COVID-19 pandemic. While we continue to wash our hands, wear a face mask, and practice social distancing, how about we take it one step further and get vaccinated? Call the nearest health center to find out if you are eligible to be vaccinated. Or you can contact the Ministry of Health at any one of these numbers down below. Don't be discouraged by the negativity. We all have a role to play in protecting this federation. So, St. Kitts and Nevis, let's roll up to roll out.
Stay abreast with news on St. Martin with SMN News. Visit www.smn-news.com for up-to-date news, scoops, opinions, and hard-hitting facts. SMN News, we tell it like it is. Visit our website www.smn-news.com.
It's the new and improved Skn Newsline Android mobile app. With the Skn Newsline app, you can watch your news reports, the Skn Newsline newscast, sports, special features, and so much more. You can also send us a WhatsApp or call us directly. Go in the Google Play Store, search Skn Newsline, and download the app today. The Skn Newsline mobile app. News on the go.
Junior, could get popcorn, please? Don't tell CNDF. Want me to plead? I can get some Sarge. More, please. Boy, take your pack up from Junie.
Welcome back. We now turn our attention to the regional news. A unanimous call has been made in Jamaica by business groups for the immediate resignation of Member of Parliament George Wright over allegations of domestic abuse. More from CVM TV in Jamaica.
Do the honorable thing and resign. That's the message being sent to Central Westmoreland Member of Parliament George Wright from several advocacy groups and now private sector bodies. In a joint statement Monday from the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica PSOJ and the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce JCC, it describes the viral video of a man assaulting a woman with his hands and with a stool as violent and disgusting.
To date, we have had neither confirmation or denial of the involvement either to the police or the parliamentary colleagues. There's still a lack of transparency as it relates in some of the actions that have been taken in terms of the applying for the leave from Parliament. We don't believe that this is sufficient, and that as a leader, that the right thing to do is actually to step down if these allegations are indeed true.
The MP has since been granted leave of absence from the Jamaica Labour Party and has indicated a desire to remain in Parliament as an independent MP. There has been no explanation for his leave of absence nor confirmation if he will still receive a full salary while off the job. Several calls to Mr. Wright's phone remains unanswered. The Jamaica Council of Churches has also joined the chorus of voices calling for the first-time representative to withdraw from Parliament. Roby-Ann Williams for CVM Live.
CARICOM Chair Dr. Keith Rowley says talks continue with U.S. President Joseph Biden about the sharing of surplus COVID-19 vaccines with the region. We join TTT for the details.
The Prime Minister and CARICOM Chairman Dr. Keith Rowley says talks continue with the U.S. President Joseph Biden about the sharing of surplus COVID-19 vaccines with the region. In a media release from the Office of the Prime Minister, it was noted that on March 19, Dr. Rowley wrote to President Biden, who in his response confirmed the United States' commitment to partnering with COVAX and other multinational institutions to ensure the equitable distribution of vaccines. Dr. Rowley also met virtually with U.S. Congresswoman Maxine Walters and a Special Assistant to the President Elizabeth Cameron, where among the key issues discussed was the need for this equitable distribution of vaccines. The Office of the Prime Minister said a commitment was received that once the policy of redistribution is readied, CARICOM will not be ignored. On Monday, the White House said it will begin sharing its entire stock of AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccines with the world once it clears federal safety reviews. This means some 60 million doses can be made available for export in the coming months.
International efforts are underway to help India as the country suffers critical oxygen shortages amid a devastating surge in COVID cases. More from the BBC.
With its health system on the brink of collapse, India's daily rise in coronavirus cases has remained above the 300,000 mark for a sixth straight day. Doctors fear a further peak in infections is still to come, despite medical aid starting to arrive from across the world. The World Health Organization says 3 variants of the virus are to blame for the surge of cases, along with the failure to control large gatherings. Our South Asia correspondent Regina Vaidyanathan reports.
collective loss that's hard to process as the pyres keep burning. There's a tragic inevitability in India, because tomorrow, these scenes will be the same. Round the clock, volunteers like Jitendra Singh Shanti have been helping to cremate those who've died.
50% of deaths are not registered by the government as COVID-19. Our NGO brings bodies to be cremated directly from homes of victims. The government only counts related deaths of victims who die in a hospital.
He believes the actual death toll is far higher than the official numbers. And in a country dubbed the pharmacy of the world because it produces so many medicines, there isn't enough to go around. Police guard the limited supplies. Families forced to wait for whatever they can. Many feel abandoned by those in power.
The government has failed us so much that those who can normally survive would also die. So many people are dying because they are unable to get the most basic services. This kind of disaster I'm witnessing, I've never seen this level of crisis before.
And in this crisis, help from further afield. Ventilators and oxygen concentrators sent by the UK government arrived in Delhi last night. It's a start, but with the surge in cases, nothing is enough. There's also been offers of help from other countries too. Even regional rivals like China and Pakistan have pledged support. The US is also looking at supplying oxygen, COVID tests and PPE to India. It's also announced it'll share up to 60 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine with other countries as they become available. But for so many families, it's all too late. No cry for help can save what India has already lost. As thousands die every day, more families bear the pain. And they're not alone in their grief. India is a nation in mourning. Rajini Vaidyanathan, BBC News.
Well, I'm joined now by Professor Srinath Reddy, President of the Public Health Foundation in India, in Delhi. So thank you so much for joining us here on the programme. We've been seeing some pretty desperate and grim images coming out of India for the past week. Supplies from the international community are also starting to arrive, but is it enough?
Well, obviously, it's not going to be enough. The supplies are going to be helpful. It's a wonderful gesture of friendship and support. But we need to get our own act together in terms of ensuring oxygen supplies, not only to the big cities, but to the smaller towns where the situation will become problematic if the pandemic spreads there fast. But all help is welcome at this point in time. The government officials say that as far as oxygen is concerned, there is no actual shortage of production in the country. It's a question of switching over from industrial use to medical use, and also overcoming some of the transport issues between the points of production to the big cities that are some distance away. But nevertheless, for the next few days, we are going to be seeing these challenges continue, and we need to quickly overcome them with concerted action.
Is that being done, in your opinion, quick enough? Because I've also been hearing that in terms of oxygen, there isn't a shortage, it's just getting it out to the people.
Yes, indeed. That's the problem, because firstly, I think the production sites had moved entirely into prioritizing industrial usage, but now the transport system, even packing it into cylinders for transport, all of that has actually cost time. So we do need to speed up that process as fast as possible. And now different methods of transport are being used, including airlifting. So I think some of the areas which are particularly challenged need to be assisted faster than others.
Do you also think that your vaccine program needs to be sped up as well?
Well, as far as our vaccine program is concerned, it was going at a relatively slow pace because I believe that this particular surge and the second wave was not truly anticipated. It was thought that the two vaccines which were already given regulatory approval and were under production in India would suffice to meet the demands till May, June, while we were actually vaccinating people who are considered to be in the vulnerable age group or had some additional health problems or considered essential workers. And by then, other vaccines would have been in production and would have been available. But that plan actually became infructuous when the pandemic actually came back in ferocity. And now the urgency to vaccinate as many people as possible, as fast as possible, is a task that we need to undertake. And unfortunately, the supply chain is at the moment narrow, but it's being expanded as fast as possible. But certainly the vaccine situation also is something that could have been better if the second wave was anticipated.
And just briefly, I mean, do you think a solution to this is another national lockdown?
Well, actually, there won't be a national lockdown because the severity of the wave is varying across states. The calendars are somewhat different. Some of the states which actually had the severest outbreaks in the initial stage are now showing some degree of decline in the rate of rise of deaths, whereas as well as cases, whereas others are now entering into that phase. So we'll have to actually adopt a state-specific strategy, even possibly a district-specific strategy, but it has to be a nationally coordinated effort. So what we need is a countrywide coordinated containment strategy rather than an omnibus strategy of lockdown nationally all at once.
Professor Srinath Reddy, thank you very much for joining us here on the program.
Most welcome.
In sports, we have the results in this past weekend's SKNFA Premier League, where 5 teams emerged as winners.
There were victories for Rams Village Superstars, Saul Allen Auto Supplies Connery FC, SL Horses St. Paul's United, Flow Fuji Kian Rockets, and St. Peter's FC in the SKNFA Premier League this past weekend at the Warner Park. Starting with matches on Friday night, Fast Gas Saddlers slumped to a 5th game losing streak when they were edged 3-2 by Rams Village Superstars. Scoring for Village, Dennis Fleming in the 8th minute, Joseph Wilkes in the 35th minute, and Travis Rogers in the 58th minute. For Saddlers, it was Evans Roy Barnes in the 57th minute and Terry Morris in the 3rd minute of stoppage time. In the night's other match, Escrave Newtown United FC drew 2-2 with MFCR Old Road Jets. Old Road playing their first match with new sponsors Montreville Farms and Clean Right came from behind twice to salvage a point. Kimron Brown got the goal scoring off for Newtown in the 7th minute, only for Tukwani Williams to equalize from the penalty spot in the 34th minute. Then Daggett and Roberts gave Newtown the lead in the 54th minute before Nickwan Brown equalized in the 72nd minute. After the match, both coaches rue only leaving with a point as they were hoping to snatch a win.
We came here with 1 and we're leaving with 1, so better than leaving with 0.
Definitely, I can't say that I'm happy with the result. We got 1 point. That's the number of points that we came here tonight with. We came with 1 and we leave with 1. But the nature of the game is that you come in and 3 points is really what we were seeking, and I believe it was right there for us.
Saturday night proved to be routine wins for Connery and Keon coming up against weaker opponents. For Connery, it was a 4-1 victory over TGE Diebe Eagles. Cadine Lewis scored for Connery twice in the 2nd and the 45th minute, Malik France in the 23rd minute, and Sylvester Keynes in the 65th minute. The lone goal from Diebe came from Ahmad Shari in the 73rd minute. Flow Fuji Ken Rockets, they defeated Trafalgar South Stars 2-0. Also on Saturday, Jan Duncan scored in the 22nd minute and Mervyn Lewis in the 46th minute. On Sunday, though, it was a different story. The much-anticipated top-of-the-table clash between St. Paul's and Spurs ended in a 2-0 victory for the defending champs. Spurs had good chances but failed to take advantage, while St. Paul's delivered 2 great goals to keep their top-of-the-table position. The game was physical, with each team sharing 10 fouls and 3 yellow cards apiece. Giovanni Lake of Spurs earned a red card for a horrendous tackle on an opponent in the 57th minute. Malik Clark and Keith Roy Freeman were the goal scorers for St. Paul's in the 36th and 49th minute. After the match, we heard from manager of St. Paul's, Darian Edmead, and Spurs coach, Austin Huggins.
Really wanted to see where we were at as a club in terms of how we stack up against the better teams. And tonight, walking away with the 2 goals victory, it goes to show that we are ready.
It was a very disappointing performance. I think that the guy not supposed we wasn't really up with tonight, especially going forward. We didn't really stick to the game plan, so we now have to go back to the training ground and try to work on a few more things to try to get it much better for the next game.
In the Sunday afternoon games, St. Peter's edged Hot Spring Bath United 1-0. Shaheem Prentice scored the lone goal in the 72nd minute. Coach of St. Peter's, Anthony Nets Isaac, was pleased with the win.
I must commend Bath for playing a very, very good half. They really outplayed us in the first half. So, but when we went back in in the locker room at half time, I had to make one or two changes on the field, not just but in terms of moving up one the midfielder deep inside to counter depth because they had about 3 to 4 on the inside. So they were getting most of the play on the inside.
Okay, I gotta say yes, the players came out and they came out, with a purpose, sticking with the plan, and unfortunately, that goal came, but that's football.
The Skn Premier League continues this Wednesday at the Warner Park with the first match of a doubleheader starting at 6 p.m.
And that will do it for this edition of the SKN Newsline newscast. From all of us at SKN Newsline and Channel 95, I'm Abby Diskin. Thank you for watching.